to find me right off the bat, and it means a lot to me.
And we appreciate you coming on and doing this. And that's my whole point behind this whole thing. Like, look, like I said at the beginning, the anti-Wes fans and the Wes haters out there, this interview probably isn't for them because they've already formed their opinion, and most people are pretty stubborn and don't want to admit, oh, my God, I'm completely wrong about this guy. I mean, maybe there will be some that do, but I think this interview is for a lot of people out there that don't understand the inner workings of this show. And hearing the things that had happened to you and hearing the things that you had done to you and the editing jobs that you got, just watching it, I mean, it was so obvious. And then to hear you on a couple Texas radio stations the last couple of weeks explaining your side, it's one of those things that I think people need to hear and make their own decision. Is Wes Hayden a jerk, or is he actually a really good guy that got thrown under the bus? And, I'm on your side on this. There'll be plenty that are on your side as well. There'll be plenty that aren't on your side. But the bottom line is they needed to hear what you had to say tonight, because the character of Wes Hayden that was portrayed for the last 8 weeks on The Bachelorette, is not the Wes Hayden that we heard from tonight. I'm sorry. It isn't. And if people want to say that I'm kissing your ass or whatever, that's the bottom line. Is I wanted to bring you on because I wanted to hear it. I think there's sincerity in your voice. I think you are a good guy at heart that really got taken for a whirlwind by this show and is being made out to look like a kind of a fool right now because of things that you said and the context in which they show it. Yeah, there were a couple things that you said, the comment about Reed and the comment about not getting a nibble from women in Texas, but, like you said, it's all in good fun. But the way they portray it on the show is, oh, my God, what a conceited a-hole this guy is for saying something like that right before Jillian shows up. But,
if I said it, I'm going to own up to it. And everything, there's been several comments that you've asked me, and I've owned up to it.
Yeah.
About the whole sex thing, but and the Reed's a retard and this and that, but it was all, it was all taken way out of context. And I mean, I could go on and on about the limo ride, about me saying I'm in Spain, everybody's going to know my name.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one. That's the one thing I forgot to write down was the I'm in Spain and everyone's going to know my name thing. Explain that.
Let me tell you exactly. When you're on the show, you're not allowed to watch TV or listen to the radio or really pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
And my handler at the time, he was a great guy. He was an awesome guy.
So, real quick, explain what your handler is. I don't think a lot of people even know what that is.
My handler is the guy that basically takes me around and he takes me to eat. He goes everywhere with me. He's kind of like my shadow.
Okay.
And man, he was a great guy. And he had downloaded some music for me from some Texas artists here in Texas. And one of my favorite artists is a guy named Stoney LaRue. I mean, I love his music. I mean, the guy is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he's got this song that was written by a guy named Brandon Jenkins, another Texas artist, called "Down in Flames." And I was kind of singing it in the limo, and you heard me say, "I'm going down in flames," right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking to Pete, the production guy, on the other end of the camera, and I was telling him about this song. I kept singing it. He was like, "What is that song?" And I was like, I'm going down in flames. One thing's for certain. Everyone's going to know my name. If I'm going down in flames. And I was just singing that chorus. And it's weird because in the beginning of the limo ride, it says, I'm going down in flames. And then I start talking about something else. And then I'm like, I remember him asking me, so Wes, was there any good that came out of this? Did you enjoy any of it? And I said, yeah, man. I mean, look at me. I'm in Spain. I said, I would have never gone to Spain before in my life. I said, but I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this beautiful country. I'm hanging out. And, but then they cut me saying I'm in Spain, and they cut me singing like everybody's going to know my name or whatever, because I sang the song to them. So they spliced in the beginning, and then they spliced that towards the end. I mean, it didn't even make sense how I said it. I mean, I'm in Spain, and then I started singing everybody's going to know my name. But that, I mean, it was awful. The part about the chains being off and the clink, 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 clink.
Yeah.
I was telling Pete, you know what? I'm going out tonight, dude. I'm going to enjoy my last night in Spain. I'll probably never be back there again. And they were like, no, you can't go out. You still have to stay. And I said, that's bullcrap. I said, look, I've been cut from the show. The chains are off. So clink, clink, clink. I said, it's going down. It's on like a pot of neck bones. And, I'm going to go out and have a good time. And that's what that was about. That wasn't the whole thing, in a nutshell, is that it's a very deceitful show.
Yeah, I could say that again. Yeah. It's almost like you're sitting there watching it. They know exactly what they want to do every single episode. Every single minute of every single episode is planned. It's nothing spontaneous about what's going on that show. It is planned. Would you agree?
I would. I'd agree with you. I just, to me, I would have never thought about doing those kind of things. If somebody says something, I wouldn't distort what they said. I just can't fathom that. I wasn't raised like that. But my manager did say, he said, Wes, he said, that's Hollywood, man. And he said, that's the entertainment business. It's cutthroat. He said, these people, they're scrambling for their job,
Yeah.
They're doing this, they're doing that. And he said, man, you're just going to have to, throw on some thick skin and you're going to have to get through this. And that's exactly what I'm having to do.
I think a lot of people that go on this show, especially 17, 18 seasons in now, are starting to get the gist of what this show is about. And I think a lot of people understand, like, there's a lot of editing that goes on. But, for you to describe exactly how the editing works, I think opens up a lot of people's eyes because, it's one thing for them to film Wes Hayden 24/7 and then just show your bad parts. Like Angry Dave, when he did his conference call, he basically said, look, they took every time I was drunk and every time that I was doing something, and probably slurred my words, and that was the Dave that they showed. He goes, yeah, I did that, but that's not always me. That's 1% of who Dave Good is. Well, the bottom line is, he said that. What in your case, like you said, portray me how you want to portray me, but don't change up my sentences to where I don't say what is being shown on TV. And I think one example that you did give, even though you didn't say this on TV, but one example that you had told me was like if you said, I don't hit women, but they take out the don't in your sentence, and now it comes out as I hit women.
Yeah, I'm a woman beater.
Yeah, that's a completely different sentence than what you actually said, and essentially that is what they're doing. They're taking out words to create Wes the villain, and
right.
You don't sign up for that. You can sign up to be videotaped all 24/7 hours of the day, and they can show all your bad parts like they did for Dave, but the minute they start screwing with sentences and going into the sound editing board to get you to say things that you didn't really say, I mean, that's
crossing the line.
It's crossing the line.
It's just straight up malicious, and it's evil. And I'm going to stand up for Dave. Dave's a great guy, and I hit it off with Dave from the beginning. I hit it off with all the guys. I mean, there's not one guy that was on that show that I didn't like, and I would hang out with any of those guys. I'd even hang out with Jake. I mean, I feel like he's doing what he has to do to achieve his goal of being the next Bachelor. I don't hold that against him. I'm a very forgiving person. I've forgiven even the producers and the editors. I mean, it hurts. It hurts me inside, but I'm not holding any kind of grudge against them. I know that it's their job. It just it pisses me off that it has to be that way. But no, Dave's a great guy. I mean, he's funny. He's witty. He's the kind of guy that would give you the shirt off his back. And they showed him as being an absolute psychopath, and that's not him either.
Yeah, and I think, one thing I was going to ask you, one of the final things I was going to ask you was your relationship with the guys, and in particular the Final Four of Ed, Reed, and Kipton. What was your thought process on the return of Ed? You're at the rose ceremony, this would have been after the hometown date, so you guys were in L.A., and Ed comes back. What was your thoughts? Because I heard Michael Stagliano's interview, and he was like, wait a second, is this even legal? Why is he allowed to come back? And that was his impression. He said that in his exit interview. What was your impression when you saw Ed appear back at the rose ceremony when you guys were in L.A. 2 weeks ago?
Honestly, my impression was that it was all staged. That's when I started kind of realizing, okay, this doesn't add up.